Thank you, Captain Modi, and my fellow speakers who are on the dais, and all of you who are here discussing about this issue of parking. And as we work with cities and make city development plan, master plan, in all our proposal, when talking about parking, parking is reduced to one small component. In terms of order of priority, it is road, water supply, flyovers, BRTS, and all systems. So my presentation here, because I am a non-mobility person, I am looking at this as an infrastructure in the city. And this parking infrastructure, what is the state of affair, and how we need to catch up or how we need to change our perspective towards making it an integral part of city-wide solution. So this is a small presentation, and I would request all of you to reflect subsequently, because it is my share, my reflection on the parking issue, and then maybe later at the end of the presentation we will try to. This slide is already known, जे हमारे यहाँ पे जो शहरीकरण हो रहा है, शहरी विकास हो रहा है, इसके काफ़ी सारे population is shifting and there is a large scale urbanization. एंड करीब 7,900 के करीब हमारे पास अर्बन सेंटर्स है, सेंसस टाउन्स है, उसमें एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव करीब 4,500 के आसपास होंगे. और जो भी प्रोजेक्शन किया जा रहा है बाय 2021 करीब 12,000 के करीब सेंसस टाउन्स हम लोग एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं. इसमें अगर हम देखेंगे जो मोटराइजेशन की जो गति रही है, ये कार्व दिखा रहा है काफ़ी, जैसे जो टोटल मोटराइजेशन रजिस्टर्ड व्हीकल की आप रेट पे ध्यान देंगे दैट इट इज शूटिंग अप इन लास्ट 2 or 2.5 decades. ये टोटल रजिस्टर्ड व्हीकल है. ये एक स्टडी हमारे कलीग IIHS बैंगलोर की द्वारा की गई. दूसरी एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग रिसर्च की गई थी IIM लखनऊ प्रोफेसर SK सिंह द्वारा. उन्होंने 1999 एंड 2009 के बीच में जो व्हीकल की जो रजिस्ट्रेशन हुई है उसकी आंकड़ा निकाल के उन्होंने एक रजिस्ट्रेशन दिखाई, द ग्रोथ ऑफ व्हीकल इन सम ऑफ द मेट्रो और मेगा सिटीज. एंड एज यू कैन सी द लास्ट कॉलम, it is ranging from 8% to as high as a 13% compounded annual growth rate. So large number of vehicle stock is adding in our city system. The second, more stunning from the study, is the growth of private vehicles. That individual vehicle in terms of two-wheelers, private cars are also rising very high. And in compared to, although this data, I'll mind you that this data is, this study based on the available data from 2000 up to 2009. So there is slightly dated data, but it gives an, what was stunning, the addition of public transport vehicle, which is only, you can see from the, because you can correlate. So Ahmedabad was about 1.6%. So where the private vehicle stocks are coming in the city system, and this is very interesting again from IIHS paper, that because of this parking happening, because of this large vehicle which are coming in our city system, percentage of the city roads which are occupying, and जहाँ पे the area is marked where cities are almost 30-40% of the city areas are being occupied, city roads are being occupied in this thing. In my university, we took up a quick study, because one concern is that whenever we are making any plan, city development plan, smart cities plan, and various forms of plan, we realize that parking as an infrastructure comes at the lowest order of priority. So earlier this year, a study was taken around some of the parts of Western Ahmedabad to understand how are you looking the parking? Because typical engineering way of looking at parking is you count some traffic data, convert them to ECS, saying that this is my demand and this is my supply. And then every study, most of the study that we look around, say हमको आज 4,000 ECS की demand है, हमको 2,000 ECS available है, बाकी हमको provide करना है. And they are very fragmented, looking at the city without integrating some smaller. So what we did is we started looking at few very important roads in Ahmedabad, started looking at how people are approaching this parking as a common citizen as well as a city administrator. And these are some of the study we started looking at. These are some of the CBD areas. And this image which is valid for Ahmedabad could be valid for any other city in India. Because you see that parking, which is constantly overflowing and not reaching to a designated area and then creating a sense of. Then, very interestingly, we realized in Ahmedabad, there is also politics of no parking zone. So first, if you go to any major city, you see that your parking is guided. That when you enter in any major city in the world, you'll see that there is a parking zone, there is a direction. In the streets of Ahmedabad, we found there is hardly any parking sign to guide you. Rather, there is a large number of signs of no parking. And the image here was that there is a large, amazing range of tradition goes on. And we went to the corporation Ahmedabad, we went to the traffic police, DCP, SCP traffic, saying that we have no database of how many no parking signs are available. And it is then we started discussing, realized that the politics here is, suppose you are expecting more traffic or you have to keep something, so you prepare a board, mark the same thing and put it there. And there is no database. So we are blaming it on so you have three things we have to remember. Almost 10% of the vehicular growth, motorized vehicular growth is getting added in the traffic. In the every city traffic, as you saw the data. Second thing, there is no parking guidance system. There is no city-wide database tells us that this is our parking and how we can we can divert. Third is, more regressively, you have no parking signs, which is actually creating more confusion than. So these are the kind of system the study brought out, like a private jeweler has put a barrier saying this parking is mine. Okay, and this is happening in and around everywhere without a kind of a city-wide. These are some of the images. The one image here is that he has privately put. He said, "Oh, हमने को ने बना दिया, इसको हमारे ये चाहिए." Then another very important factor came out: the off-site parking provided by the private sector. This is the condition of a shopping mall, and there is again, when you go to this, the access is so limited. And in terms of when you go, the environmental quality, etc., the parking is not, mostly even the day, most people prefer to park outside the mall rather than going down inside. So forget about some malls started charging, but this is the condition in this. So what is happening because of the way are we approaching the parking infrastructure, not looking this entire parking infrastructure as a city-wide, the way we are approaching water supply, road infrastructure, or any other infrastructure, parking is very fragmented way, that way we are trying to look at it. We have a group in SEPT called Smart Cities Watch, which is a student. We keep tracking, we thought, okay, now the smart cities proposals are coming. We thought this would be a kind of an opportunity. We see that most of because our last study brought out, beside this parking, that most of the parkings are extremely bottom of the technology ladder. When you go to the parking receipt, some guy will come and write it down. There is no municipal GIS database about the parking, no condition in terms of what is the capacity of parking. And the way the receipts are done is like somebody will come and give you a receipt, some corner, some guy. There was not even an iota of digitization. So we thought because of smart cities proposals are coming, we would be able to see some very interesting proposals. And there are 60, as you know, by now has been. So there are about 323 proposals of 100 crores more, totaling roughly about 70,000 Indian crore rupees have been given. Out of that, the mobility related proposals were about 16,000 crore and some parking related, which are 5,000 crore. And this was the kind of a variation about city-wise and the parking level multiple. What to our horror we found, most of the parkings are non-technology oriented. Most of the proposals are varying for about 8-10 cities. Most of them are stacking up multi-level car parking without any IT intervention, without looking at how to optimize the existing infrastructure stock, whether this kind of a parking guidance system. Again, part of the area-based proposals where few things are identified, said we'll prepare a smart parking proposal. And so if you look at the summary, even the smart cities where a lot of debates are going on, with a lot of euphoria, enthusiasm about it, The smart parking is very limited if you analyze the entire proposal very closely in terms of that. Almost no proposal out of the 60 cities analyzed talked about city-wide integrated parking proposal. There are proposals of 1 square kilometer here, one proposal there, some little bit, a few of them obviously, but there is nobody is looking into this. And that's what my last part of this, that when you look at any one of us looking at in the smart cities domain, and this smart diamond is, and we are also talking about smart mobility, there is an enormous need that we should look at the technology aspects of parking, how we can, whatever the existing assets, because we cannot wish away, because I come across many proposals talking about, and they're very important proposal in terms of parking policy, in terms of parking tariff, charging of the parking. But if we're not investing in the infrastructure upkeeping, then probably and there is no technological intervention, it's just that somebody will manage on the street, that whole attitude towards parking needs to change. And with this ability, there are a lot of, this whole smart parking cloud is emerging. And there's, about a lot of technologies from smart app. We had couple of guys from Ahmedabad who created some apps about parking and bus transport. Very interesting, called Ye Bus Kab Aayegi for MTS, because they don't have a timetable, etc., etc. And I think this is the time, depending on the size class of the city. We had a very interesting proposal by SPA colleagues for Ahmedabad, for Gandhinagar, called Smart Parking, S-Park. And they tried looking at some of the rate of investment for a city like size class of Gandhinagar, and I need similar order of size class feasibility. These technologies are expensive, maintenance, but what is the rate, and that size class reference we need to come up. There are a few very interesting cases that has come up. As you know, globally, this Westminster City Council, the very central part of the administrative city, they started declaring few roads as a smart parking road and started using this smart eye. Initially, about 3,000 smart eyes were taken. Now they are being expanded to close to 7,000 smart eye. Very interesting, when I was doing my research in Auckland, there was another very interesting called area-based parking, smart REP. In the entire area, which are the priority of the parking, what is the daytime priority, what are the evening time priority, what are the weekend priorities of parking. For example, if you're from Ahmedabad, Ashram Road in a weekday is a choke block, but the weekend the priority shifts, the demand of parking shifts. Similarly, SG Road, when you go there, the evening parking demands shoots up. And that kind of parking microzonation understanding, and the issue of parking we all are facing, but the idea of attacking them in an integrated manner has to end up with the city plan system. This is a similar Rotterdam S-Park system, and that can come up in this. We have two very good cases which are emerging, what we learned from Lavasa, what we are learning from Gift City, the how IT enabling parking solution can bring out efficiency. And that's what my final slide is on the how this, whenever we are developing multi-car parks or whatever the parking proposal, how IT would enable guiding what is the number of vehicle entering, what are the safety, how many number vacant slots, and instead of a static guidance, parking is that corner of the road, or how parking becomes more dynamic guidance. So instead of our city flooded, Ahmedabad or any other city flooded with no parking zones, could we have zones which are guided parking, giving the dynamic data, given the stocks that we have every kind of thing. Finally, what we wanted to, my comments here is we wanted to share and discuss, and your feedback as well, that we need to change our attitude and approach towards the city parking infrastructure. It's bothering us, it is create change, it has a profound impact on urban traffic, urban mobility condition, but the priority it has to come in our smart cities proposal, master plan or city development or whatever comprehensive mobility plan needs to look at. The second point is that instead of the local fragmented local parking solution, we need an integrated city-wide approach. Looking at as tomorrow, if you walk in a city council, do you know how many city parking slots we have? What is the capacity of them? And every hour, what? Because it's a dynamic system. I have 5,000 slots, but how many of them are occupied? And second, very interesting study, that Auckland study, which is showing the dynamic nature of shifting, because the parking is constantly shifting depending on the nature of the hours of the day or weekend of the day, and adaptation of smart technologies. And these are, because we need to look at, because the kind of vehicular flow that we are anticipating and we are witnessing, I think we need to look at them much more seriously. Thank you for your kind attention.